So it's been a while since I made a video with my hands actually in camera and some traditional art is being showcased. So I thought, why not go through my very first finished sketchbook. I started it in 2017. This is the first drawing that I've ever finished in this sketchbook, and the reason why I drew certain things was because since I was in a class, we had to draw certain prompts for every week. You don't really get into stuff that I do on my free time until like the summertime or something, when I try to fill out my sketchbook seriously with what I wanted to do. The second page, the theme was husky, and this is basically what I drew. I looked up multiple references to find each individual husky so I could draw it out and kind of mimic that. The background was completely original. I didn't really look up any references, so that's why it's a little sketchy. Doesn't make some sense in some places, but I thought it looked good, and to be honest, in the whole sketchbook, this is probably one of the better drawings. Once again, I have no sense of color theory in this page, and the only thing I can really like about this is the face, because if you look closely, their eyes are like red, and I'm pretty sure this has to do with like being tired or staying awake, and I just felt like this is kind of relatable. You have all these things you have to do, take multiple cups of coffee, stay awake for something important, but in the end it's like you're suffering because your health is depleting. Little disclaimer, I am not putting in every single drawing in this because some are a little too personal. Like, for example, I feel like a sketchbook is usually very personal to the artist. It's almost like a diary. If you don't like writing and you prefer drawing, it's kind of like that. But I will talk about this. So the teacher assigned us to do all 4 seasons, and this is just what I came up with. And if you don't know, my favorite season is fall, because you hardly ever see it where I'm from. But the thing is, I strongly dislike spring because of all like the insects and just all the allergies people get. It's flu season, just not a good combination. Now, if you know me, I absolutely despise drawing things that are straight, very geometric, just buildings in general. I cannot stand to draw buildings. Even though this is just one big house, just trying to get these 2 lines to be the same was very annoying. And trying to make multiple windows, that also a pain. But I had fun with this because I don't usually draw a lot of this in my works, but I do really like to draw horror related stuff. As you can see here, it says like help written all over the walls. Here are some blood splatters of hands. There's some creepy ghost chick, someone peeking through the window. And I even incorporated a blood moon. And I really like the shading of this. And all of these are used, I used colored pencils for all of these because this was just a drawing sketchbook. It's not mixed media or anything, so it wouldn't be able to hold up the weight of like water or alcohol markers or anything of that sort. So an ex-friend of mine told me to draw Marilyn Monroe, and at first I was all like, sure, why not? I didn't really have any other ideas or anything like that, so I decided to draw her. I used a reference, and the shading kind of throws me off, but this was how it was like in the actual reference. It was like pure black shadows, nothing was super faded or anything, and this kind of, it looks a little weird, but I still think it's okay. It's not accurate to the reference because the photo that I was looking at, it was skinnier, so I had to widen everything out so that it would fit on the page, because the thing about the prompts is it has to be full page, full color, so can't really do anything about that. And I know a lot of you are gonna probably be like, what? But I don't really watch Christmas movies during Christmas, but if I had to, it would be How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And I feel like this got pretty accurate to the actual scene. I even got like specific colors for this when I thought I didn't really have it. I don't know, this was actually pretty fun. Even though it's not something original, I had fun drawing this out and coloring it for sure. And then it's more Christmas stuff. This took forever to draw because of how many small little details I had, and then I had to color all of them individually. So a little pain, but like they say, no pain, no gain. This one, I'm pretty sure this prompt was something relating to struggle, but the thing is, this character is original. I should probably do a redraw of this. I might actually make that into a post one day. But basically, this guy, he is part of the future, and plants are trying to take over modern life and cities and stuff, because it's also a little, I don't want to say like political, but it relates to now, because we usually like pollute the air, we litter, we do all kinds of stuff to the environment, and I feel like this is their way of getting revenge on human society. If you've been following me for a long time, you would know this piece on my Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, it will be linked in the description box. Go check it out, go follow, leave a comment or something. I deeply appreciate it. But so this basically was, it's a couple, and I'm not very good at proportions at this time in my life, but I tried my best. And so they're basically both reminiscing about like their childhood and how they used to always be together when they're younger and stuff like that. And I remember this prompt so well because I was laughing while drawing this. If you can't tell, this is Blac Chyna, and the prompt was ugly. So I decided, hey, even though like a lot of people like how she looks, I feel like personality wise she is an ugly person. So I decided to, even though make her look like her regular self, I incorporated this as the bigger picture because I don't know, it was a little funny. I'm trying to look up the reference for that. So it was around Easter, and I really like this one, even though I kind of did the same thing as in the previous sketch. I did too much like detail in the front, whatever, but I tried making it a little different by putting darker shades in the hill behind. But so the concept I had behind this was it's Easter and the bunnies are looking for eggs, and there's a human, even though I added bunny ears, he's wearing a bunny ear like headband to blend in. He is hiding the eggs so that these bunnies could find them. So there was more, but like I figured I wouldn't show it because a lot was something that really didn't interest me, or I felt like I had nothing to say about them. So I'm gonna move on to summertime, when I actually started drawing my own stuff instead of the prompts. So I'm not sure what's up with this face, but I feel like I was trying to do something with it, just gave up altogether. And don't mind this, that's just my own little font. And I tried practicing drawing a braid, and I still need to work on this because I still don't know how to draw braids. And I did like a little hand study of like my own hand, try to get different body types between male and female. I was also working on like the distance between the eyes, nose, and mouth, because I felt like I truly struggled with how I want my characters to look. So as you can see, I did 2 different faces, and none of them are like my style now, but I was just experimenting. And for like the eyes, they look very creepy and too close together, but as I said before, I was experimenting. And even though I have no trouble drawing lips now, I was struggling. If you can see right here, like this is probably my favorite one out of the 3, but I had no idea how I would be able to draw lips. And then I just did More hand studies. I think I copied my own hand for this one. This one I didn't really have a reference, so I tried it. And I do add notes to my sketches so that I can work on it later. And you can't really see it, but on the bottom I tried different kinds of guidelines, or like try to get the figures right. So for this one it would be more bubbly, for this it would be more triangles, and this was just like lines. And I tried practicing with different nose shapes, and to be honest, I don't like either of these. For lips, I do put X's next to the ones I don't like so that I just make a mental note that that's something I need to improve on. But I thought I was okay with these two, even though I don't draw my lips like this anymore. And same with here, I tried drawing thinner lips because I usually draw full lips, which I should also keep in mind again, because like now I don't really draw thin lips anymore, or didn't really start drawing thin lips. I only draw thick. So maybe I'll try to draw one person that has thinner lips. And I was trying out like eyelashes and eye shapes. So I kinda like this one, but I really like this one. I don't know what it is, but the eye shape looks really good. But for this one, I'm definitely going to need more practice. And I'm not showing the bottom because it's not appropriate. It's just a little hand study of a certain gesture. So for this one, I was actually trying to get this person's hair to be the size of the circle, but I got a little lazy, and I'm not sure how it would have looked if I continued with like the same texture of this hair. So I decided that leaving it short would be best, and I really like how this turned out. I'm just really upset about how I drew the body and like the clothes, but I think at this point I'm getting closer to what my style is now. So for this is the first time I tried drawing in just pen without any pencil sketches, because I heavily relied on my pencils to draw. So this was my first attempt, my very first attempt to draw anything with just pen, and this is my second, but I didn't really like that whatsoever. And I draw two chibi characters, and they're both Pisces, and I feel like with that they're kind of yin and yang in a way. So for this, a friend of mine actually told me like, hey, can you draw me a sunflower? I was all like, sure, why not? And I tried to do this. I outlined it in a red ballpoint pen because I felt like just giving it a black outline will make it not as cohesive, since there's a lot of red being used in this. And let me tell you, drawing sunflowers is so difficult. Like, this probably doesn't even look like a sunflower, but I really tried my best, and yeah, it's just not my best. And ignore this, I was just using highlighters. I was going through a little mental breakdown and stuff. So now this is the first thing I posted on my Instagram account, and like I said, you can go follow it in the description box. Go do all that, I'd appreciate it. And I feel like I have to redraw this because I'm not really good at coloring with colored pencils and giving it like the effect that I want. Like, if you've seen any of my other videos, which you definitely should check them out, I usually do digital art now, and I usually try to use certain brushes to give the effects that I want that I can't usually get on traditional art because I don't have the supplies for it. This drawing, this is original. Nothing inspired me to do this. I just felt like, hey, what if like if you're in water, you kind of bring life to a person, and when you're out, you're just this boring, dull, black and white kind of person. So I thought that this would be an interesting concept, and I like the way the water is. And actually, thinking about it, there was this one video that inspired me to do this, but it wasn't this concept. But the water, the way this artist did the water, inspired me to do this. And I feel like this is going to be the drawing that I'm always going to recreate every year just to see how my skills are as an artist, like just to check up on myself. So this video on the new version should be coming out soon. Now we're going back into the year of when I'm supposed to do prompts, and this is what I dread most because I don't like doing whatever people tell me to do. So I was a little unsure of what I needed to draw because a week in I realized you don't have to draw what they tell you to draw. Like, you can create what you want, but I was very uninspired during this week. So I asked a friend of mine, and I was like, hey, what should I draw? And they're like, you should draw some kind of landscape. And I was like, okay, what kind? And they said bayou. And I was like, okay, fine. So this is how it came out. I really like this, actually. Like, I do not draw landscapes usually, but I really like how this turned out, like with the moss here and like the lily pads, even though they're not super bold, not outlining the whole thing kind of gives it a certain style that I really like. And yeah. So I still didn't have any sense of proportions when I was beginning class again, as you can see in the torso, but I am getting better at trying to distance things away, I think, because I try to make this bigger and closer to us. So this one, oh my gosh. So this is in 2018. If you guys don't know, September 14th, 2018, I decided, hey, why don't I draw every single weakness I have in art? And that would be buildings, male anatomy, and lines. And if you don't know, SpiderMan is my favorite superhero. Oh, and reflections too. Like, I cannot draw reflections for the life of me. So drawing this with all these lines, trying to get everything straight, doing the reflection right so it looks legit was so difficult. I had to look at a reference for this. I couldn't just draw that by myself. But I think this came out to be one of the best drawings I have in this sketchbook. Now, this one gets me mad because if you don't know, I did not watch Infinity War. I did not watch Endgame. I'm not very interested. Go hate me in the comments if you want to. Tell me how much you despise me now. Go ahead. But I tried making an original character. Someone said, do a half tree, half animal. And I was like, okay, half tree, half frog, because frogs are cute. And he ended up looking up like this. And I tried to not make him look like Groot because that's not an original character. That's already someone a lot of people know, but like, it still turned out to look this way. I don't know. I tried, and I wasn't trying to go for a super realistic. I was trying to go for like boyish. So I don't know. A lot of the sketchbook pages are stuff that I'm not really happy with. So that's why I'm skipping a lot of this. Plus, it'll save time on the video, but I decided to do something a little bit more realistic. So I just drew an old guy, happy old guy, and I'm happy with it. Like, I don't have anything against it. It's just, at this point, the class was draining me of my creative juices, so I'm starting to get less motivation to draw by this point. And for the next few drawings, I'm going to skim by really quick. They're part of my like ethnicity series. I'm probably, if I have any more, I will continue with this series because some of you actually seem to be interested in it, which I was surprised by. So yeah, basically, if you don't know what it was, I took a DNA test, and based off the results that I got, I would draw the ethnicity that I belong to. So for example, this is Nigerian because I am part Nigerian. We got Filipino, Siberian, Irish, Cuban, and Native American. That's only part of it. This isn't everything, because I felt like the way this was going, I didn't want to do all of them at once or like do it consecutively, because I wanted to create other things but not ruin the feed. So I stopped at 6, but maybe I'll do more in the future. This was also part of the style challenge that I took part in. Like, this is how I draw stuff now, and I tried doing different shows to compare and trying to get my sister to comment on them. She says that's not a Steven Universe style, that's just Steven Universe as a girl. And I was like, whatever, because I don't watch it. Like I said, you can attack me in the comments, go ahead, but I tried. I really did. So we've come to the end of this video. This is basically the last piece of artwork. I think, yeah, that's the last piece of artwork that I fully completed in this sketchbook. And so I finished this March 8th, 2019. So if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe if you want. Leave a comment of how much you hate how I've never seen any of the movies or shows that I mentioned in this video. You can follow me on my Instagram in the description box. Let me know what you think of this. I'm probably going to do another video of my second sketchbook because I just finished that the other day. Let me know what you think, and thanks for watching.